A US federal court has ruled that President Donald Trump overstepped his authority by imposing global tariffs. If it holds, the bloc would represent a major blow to a key part of Mr. Trump's economic policies. Well, the court sided with lawyers representing small US businesses who argued that President Trump overstepped his authority by taxing imports. Within minutes of the ruling, the Trump administration lodged an appeal. A White House spokesman said it was not for unelected judges to decide how to properly address a national emergency. With us is our business correspondent, Mark Lobel. Talk to us more, Mark, about what's actually happened here.
Well, in the last few hours, this federal court has blunted one of Donald Trump's key economic weapons that he wanted to use to boost US manufacturing and to protect jobs. Now, if you cast your mind back to Liberation Day, as Donald Trump called it, on April the 2nd, when he was standing up in the White House garden with that board with all those numbers on, all those reciprocal tariffs, that global import tax that he put on most countries around the world, and also country-specific ones like the big ones on China and the EU that have been jumping around like a kid on a pogo stick, has been sending global markets into disarray. And now we've suddenly had this news, excluding the tariffs on steel and aluminium and also on cars, everything else will be suspended in 10 days' time unless Donald Trump and his team can find a way to stop them.
You mentioned the markets. How have they reacted?
Well, huge relief for the markets. They're up in Asia. US futures are up, and the FTSE 100 has just opened up, 0.5% up. The Nikkei 225 was up 1.9%. Hong Kong Hang Seng was up 1.1%. Also in South Korea, it was up 1.8%. Significant because they had already been on a rally. So stocks markets have been going up in recent days anyway. So this is definitely as a result of this news. The dollar has been strengthening too against other safe haven currencies. So there's relief there, but big questions now about the trading partners and the businesses that would have been at the end of these tariffs. So, for example, the ASEAN summit earlier this week, there were all these maneuverings. China had gone to visit the summit to decide how to deal with this big problem, and they were going to create new strategic partnerships. The UK, for example, although it had a deal with President Trump, that was just about the aluminium and steel sectors and the car sectors, which remain anyway. So that's a helpful deal. But the UK was still subject to 10% tax on most of its goods, plus businesses. Businesses have been waiting to work out what to do about investments. I'm not sure this brings them enough clarity yet, but they would certainly prefer a world without these tariffs.
This case against the Trump administration, ironically, was brought by small businesses that were supposed to benefit from his policy.
That's right. Importers of things like wine and bikes in America. They went to the